So ever since the Mandalorian season 2 finale, I have been very optimistic, and I've been saying that Star Wars is going in the right direction with the content they're creating. Obviously, after the Mandalorian season 2 finale, we did have a lot of controversies with the Pablo Hidalgo versus Star Wars theory situation. That definitely set the fandom back a long time, because it seemed like we had just been brought together after the Mandalorian season 2 finale, and then the Pablo Hidalgo versus Star Wars theory situation happened, and that made us all mad at Lucasfilm again. Some people got mad at the fans for getting mad at Lucasfilm. All this stuff happened within the fandom that ruined everyone's mindset once again. Then a couple months after that, or maybe even just a couple weeks after that, Gina Carano was fired for making a post on Instagram that there's no way that she should have been fired for making that post, but that's for a different video. I've said it a million times. Everyone knows that she shouldn't have been fired, and if you think that she should have been fired, you're just a weirdo. But now it seems like when it comes to the actual content that Star Wars is creating, they're putting the right people in charge, even though they can't really stay out of controversies, even though they can't really stop people from leaving projects or firing people off projects or canceling projects that they promise us. It seems like they can't stay out of controversies when it comes to stuff outside of the content they're creating. But like I said, when it comes to the content they're actually creating, when it comes to the stuff inside of the Star Wars universe, it does seem like they're going in the right direction. It does seem like they're putting the right people in charge. And then Kathleen Kennedy does something like this. This really sets them back a long time. This sets them back a lot. She hires Leslie Headland, who said a whole bunch of stuff that's not good. I did a whole video on that before. I'm not going to go into all of that. I'm sure you all know what Leslie Headland said already. She hired a writer that has never seen Star Wars before. Representation and diversity is #1 on her to-do list when it comes to this show. She's just one of those people who only cares about the agenda. She only cares about the propaganda. She doesn't care about actually making a good Star Wars show. She's just using Star Wars because it's a big platform, because a lot of people care very passionately about Star Wars. She's just getting on here. She's just going to do Star Wars, make a Star Wars show to push her agenda. She just wants to do a Star Wars show, for one, to be able to say that she did a Star Wars show, and for two, to have a big platform, a large platform to push the agenda and the propaganda that she wants to push. And that's exactly what she's doing right here. You know, a lot of people were saying, oh, it's just quotes, you know, she's just talking. It doesn't matter until we see actual action on these things that she's talking about. Let's not get too mad about it. Let's not get too upset about it. And let's not speculate that the show is going to be bad before the show comes out. And then this happens. The Acolyte casting news fixes a huge Star Wars fandom problem. I don't think it does that. I think it actually sets us back quite a lot, because like I said, they were doing very good with the stuff that's happening inside of the movies, inside of the television shows, and they definitely could make The Acolyte extremely good. There's definitely a possibility that that could happen, but I don't think it's very likely. You know, I'm speaking on probabilities here, not possibilities. The possibility is The Acolyte could be the best Star Wars show ever, but the probability is it's going to be really bad and riddled with woke propaganda and agendas and all the stuff that we're used to when it comes to the rest of Hollywood, and really when it comes to Star Wars a little bit, but it's not really as bad as other things like Marvel and, you know, all these other IPs that push this woke propaganda. Star Wars hasn't been as bad as them. You have to admit that. Yes, it's been bad, but all of Hollywood has been bad the last few years. But anyway, let's get into this article. Star Wars and backlash unfortunately go hand in hand. Maybe it's fandom ire after revealed that Rey is actually Palpatine, or the backlash against an actor's comments, and then the different backlash against the firing of said actor. No fandom is a monolith, but the Star Wars fandom feels constantly divided. Now, do you think that that's the fandom? Maybe it actually is something to do with the fandom a little bit, but I don't think it's just Star Wars fans are bad people. I just think we're really passionate, and we have very different views on how movies should be made, on how TV shows should be made. And we get very passionate in the arguments, and then you add on top of that Lucasfilm just being totally mishandled. Even every side of the arguments can agree that Lucasfilm has been mishandled at some point, and multiple points really. I think everyone can agree that Kathleen Kennedy and the Lucasfilm story group have mishandled Lucasfilm and Star Wars immensely. You know, they've been really bad about how they've handled Lucasfilm and Star Wars in particular. Everyone can agree on that. So when you add in a very, very passionate fan base with people who are running this IP and this Lucasfilm and Star Wars, and for a while it felt like they were running it into the ground, of course those arguments, of course that passion is going to be amplified. Of course that hatred, that angst towards the people running their favorite IP into the ground is going to be amplified. Of course people are going to be divided whenever all that happens. I don't think it's just Star Wars fans are bad people inherently. That's really stupid to even assume. But anyway, when Variety announced Hunger Games and The Hate U Give actor Amanda Stenberg, I don't really know how to pronounce her name, or their name, sorry. I don't want to get anyone triggered in this video, so I'm just going to go ahead and call her what she wants to be called, because I don't know, maybe I'll slip up a couple of times, but it's really not that hard. Just call her what she wants to be called. It is what it is. You know, it's the easiest way to go, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. But was in talks for the lead role of the upcoming Disney Plus series The Acolyte. The fandom was divided yet again. Here's everything you need to know about Stenberg's possible role and how it could fix an ongoing Star Wars fandom problem. It's not going to fix any problems. It's going to create more problems, and everyone knows that. Kathleen Kennedy knows that. Leslie Headland knows that. Everyone involved in this show knows that this is only going to create more problems. Amanda Stenberg is in talks for the title role of The Acolyte, an upcoming Star Wars live-action television series created by Russian doll showrunner Leslie Headland. When the show was announced in 2020, many fans objected to the series being described as female-led because Rey, a female character, led the last three. No, that's not why. That's not why we were mad about it being female-led. It's simply because you have this really cool concept for a show, dark side centric show, and you lead with the show just being that's all you said. All they said when they announced it was that Leslie Headland was going to be making a female-led Star Wars show. Why didn't you lead with the fact that Leslie Headland was making a dark side centric show? Why is it a female-led show that you're advertising first and foremost? I think it's because they hired Leslie Headland on and they were like, you know what, you're going to make a Star Wars show set in the High Republic and it's going to be female-led. They didn't even tell her anything about the concept of the show. I think that was their main concept, and that's what makes people worried whenever they're, the main premise of the show is it being female-led instead of the main premise of the show being the story that's being told within the show. That's why this makes people upset. That's why this makes people worried. Not because Rey was a female character and she led the last 3 Star Wars movies. Who cares? That doesn't matter. That doesn't affect the show at all. Who cares? It's because we get worried that you're focusing on it being female-led more than you're focusing on the actual story being told in the show. That's what people are worried about. This article is so stupid already. But anyway, let's continue on. Now this casting news has revived the conversation, albeit differently, because Amanda Stenberg uses they them pronouns. In a statement on Tumblr in 2016, Stenberg wrote that they them pronouns make them feel comfortable. I don't think people are mad at that. I mean, maybe, I'm sure there are some people out there that are mad that Amanda Stenberg uses they them pronouns, but I would say that most of us didn't even know that was the case until she was cast as the Acolyte. And the problem with that is they're casting her as the Acolyte and then really pushing the fact that she uses they them pronouns because that's what they want. That's what this show is about. This show is about pushing that woke propaganda and that agenda. I don't think anyone has a problem, or any normal person doesn't have a problem with just calling her they them pronouns. It's not that hard. It's not your first instinct when you're looking at someone that looks like, a girl, but it's not that hard to just call them they them pronouns. It's really not. So I don't think people are that upset about them using those pronouns. I just think people are upset that that's what they're pushing. They cast her and then they're pushing that news, that they them pronoun news, so hard after we already heard all the stuff that Leslie Headland said in the lead up to this casting news. It just gives a bad taste in our mouth. It just makes us even more worried for the show that we were already worried for whenever they announced the show saying that it was female-led and didn't say anything about the concept of this really cool concept for a show. Then they have Leslie Headland coming out and saying a bunch of stupid stuff that, her top priority is pushing that woke agenda in there. And then you cast someone like this and all you say is that they have they, them pronouns and you're pushing that extremely hard. Going in the wrong direction. This isn't going to fix anything in the Star Wars fandom. This is only going to make us more divided and in reality more angry at Lucasfilm. This is more of us being angry at Lucasfilm than being divided as a fandom, in my opinion, because I'm not mad at the other side who loved this casting news. I don't care. Go ahead and love the casting news. I don't really have a feeling towards the casting news either way. I think that they are a really good actor. I really think that they could be a good actress and in the role of the Acolyte, but it's just the fact of how they're advertising this show. It's the fact of how they've advertised so many other things in Hollywood that are very similar to this. It makes me extremely worried for this show, and I'm praying to God that this show never comes out. It really is looking like the show's not going to come out. Let's finish this article real quick. Star Wars has a less than stellar track record with transgender issues. Gina Carano was fired from The Mandalorian for her comments about the trans community. Casting Stenberg, even in what is likely to be a female role, could be a conscious effort to include diversity. Well, why are you saying that it's a female-led role? You should be saying that it's a they-them-led role. That way you have maximum diversity. That's what I think that you should do, because that would make you look way more woke than saying female. I think female is just kind of a social construct and it shouldn't really exist. Female, male, all that science stuff, just throw it out the window. I think that, it should just be they, them. Everyone should just be they, them. No one should be female or male, in my opinion. So not very woke of you to have a female-led show. But anyway, let me know what you guys think about The Acolyte. Obviously, that was just a joke. I hope no one gets extremely offended at that, even though I'm sure someone out there will. Can't wait to read your comments. I can't wait to respond to you and troll you even more. But anyway, let me know what you guys think about The Acolyte. Do you think that this show is actually going to happen? And do you think that the casting of Amanda Stenberg fixes the entire Star Wars fandom, as this article says? Let me know what you think about the whole situation. Go subscribe to my second channel. I'll be doing all my live streams pretty much over there from now on. If you did enjoy the video though, please leave a like on the video and I hope to see you in the next one.